Hey guys and girls, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode of FTB Infinity with myself, Lewis. Hope you're brilliant, having yourself a great day. As always, I am currently making myself buttloads of graphite because today we're going to be doing a bit of big reactors. I want to sort out the power for the Borg cube, and what better way to do it than with a big old reactor. So that's going to be the plan for that. We're going to go with a passively cooled reactor this time, and once I've got it up and running, then I'll start thinking about doing an actively cooled reactor. So we won't have turbines just yet, but we will do later on. Depends how much power we need. At the minute, I don't think we're going to need a great amount of power in there, seeing as there's no machines in there, but eventually there will be. Now, between this and the last episode, I made myself an area where I can get myself many ender pearls, which is brilliant. So if we come inside here, you see I have a separate one at the end now, which is spawning me ender guys. Yes, I made myself a mine factory reloaded automatic spawner down here, an auto spawner, and I went and got myself a safari net, and I clicked on an ender dude, and now we can spawn enderman, which is great. Now the spawner will spawn in a 7x7, but the grinders only work in a 5x5. So you could put that in the middle of a 5x5 and then just cover the rest of the walls up so the endermen have to spawn in the middle. But I thought it'd look cool having a big room, so I made 3 of them or 4 of them and just put them around the edges. So that way, that does that. And if we have a look under here, there's loads of cables and pipes and things pumping all the stuff down there from all of the essence drums that we've got in the last episode. So yeah, but overall this thing's working quite nicely. I got a decent amount of loot and things, which is good. We've got ourselves some treasures. Actually, do you know what? Should we open our treasures right now before we do this? That's horribly loud. I'll have to turn that down. We got ourselves some potions, some ender. Oh, we got some ender pearls. You can go inside there. And we got another one in here. All right, I'll take that. A diamond and a bottle of enchanting. Wow. Thank you very much. So, over here as well, we've got some pipes with an item filter, because I decided to put an item filter on that one so that we can pull out the ender pearls into here, because endermen in this can drop different things. They drop these unknown dimlets from RF tools. Somehow they're getting dirt, which I think is coming from a piece of dirt over there, because they might be spawning up there. I don't know, but somehow they're managing to get dirt. And sometimes they'll drop the reward bags from Farmcraft, or the treasure bags. So sometimes those get dropped as well. So putting that on there makes it a lot easier to know what's going in and what's not going in, so it makes life a lot easier. But with that, we're getting the ender pearls. The ender pearls are then going through here into this magma crucible, and they're getting turned into resonant ender. I've currently got about 40 buckets worth of resonant ender, which we're going to need today for our big reactor, because I think I'm going to cool it with resonant ender. I've done resonant ender before and I quite liked it. Another one you can use is gelid cryophium, but I find gelid cryophium doesn't put out as much power, but it's better for fuel efficiency. You kind of have to weigh the two up, you know. The gelid cryophium, you use less fuel but get less power. With the liquid ender, you use more fuel but you get more power. So, you know, one or the other, it doesn't really make a difference. So that is what we're going to be doing. Now let's throw some of this stuff in here. We'll just pretend that they got dropped by mobs for now. Oh, that one got sucked away. You can go back in there. Cool. So I've been making all of this graphite because we're going to be using the graphite to make the parts that we need for our big reactor. And to make graphite, you just burn coal, and that gives us graphite, which I've been getting in here. Now, we're going to need a few things to be able to make our big reactor, and a couple of bits we're not going to have to make now, but we will make at another point. But the main thing is going to be the reactor controller and loads of these reactor casings. And we're going to need a lot of reactor casings, because I haven't decided on the size of the reactor I want to go with, whether I want to use a 7x7, which is the general size that you'd go with for a decent reactor as a 7x7, or we go with a 9x9 and really push the boat out. I'm not sure which one I want to go with just yet. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to make both, and we'll see which one is better for us. That is a lot of blocks. But I think we might even still need more than that. Alright, so now that we got that, let's grab ourselves. Do you know what would be really handy? The one thing that I love this chest a bit, but there's one thing that I don't like about it. I can't access NEI for this stuff down here, which makes it kind of useless because I can't remember recipes to save my life. So I think what we should do is let's grab ourselves. Oh, I made another bag, didn't I? I made a building bag. Here we go. Let's get ourselves a crafting table for downstairs. Here we go. Cool beans. Actually, you know what they should make? I don't know if you can do this. Carpenters. They should make a carpenter's crafting table. Like, do you not think that would be a good idea? Maybe you can do that. Maybe I'm just, you know, just being an idiot. Maybe you can, like, attach it to a carpenter's block. I don't know. But how cool would it be to have a carpenter's... What is that? A master carpentry hammer? Yeah. How cool would it be to have a carpenter's block that's a crafting table? I would buy that. Give it to me now. Take my money. Alright, you can sit there. So, let's look at the big reactor bits that we're going to need. And then we can decide on which ones to make. So the first thing is going to be the reactor controller, which is going to require a diamond and a redstone, and we're only going to need one of these, so we can craft one of those quickly. We're also going to need some reactor control rods, and I'm not sure how many I'm actually going to need. For the 7x7 we'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll need 5 for that. Let's get some more redstone. Yeah, so we're going to need 5 for the 7x7. But if I want to do a 9x9, that's going to need another 4, I think. We'll make 5 more. There we go. Why not? Cool, cool. And you can see we're almost out of graphite. This is how fast it gets used up, but we have got loads of reactor casings as well. So we're also going to want some power taps. So let's make a couple of those, because why not? And we're also going to want some reactor access ports. So we're going to need some pistons and some chests. We're only going to need 2 of these. So they're, you know, they're fairly cheap. So let's get a couple of chests. Here we go. Cool beans. So a couple of chests. And we're also going to want some pistons. So let's get ourselves the bits of some pistons as well. So I'll grab you and that. And we're going to need some iron from inside here. There we go. And you guys, and 2 of those. Cool, cool. And that should allow us to make 2 of the access ports. So one of them is going to be used for an input, one of them will be used for an output. And we probably will make a cyanide reprocessor as well at some point, but not yet. So, now that we've got those, we're going to want a reactor glass, which is going to be the bulk of all the stuff that we need, because we're going to need a lot of reactor glass. So let's make a buttload of this. What's that? 64, 32. We're going to need a lot more than that. Let's do some more. How many is that? 64, 64. No, more than that. 14. What have we run out of now? We're out of reactor casings. Okay. Let's grab some more of you. And we'll make some more reactor casings. Okay. And we're also going to need some Yellorium fuel rods. So these are pretty expensive as well. And what are we missing? We need that. We need you. We need iron. Let's grab some more iron. And we need lots of these as well. We need lots of everything, unfortunately. What have we run out of? Iron again? Yeah. Let's grab some more iron. So grab some more of you. There we go. 37. It's probably still not going to be enough. Let's grab some more Yellorium. And we'll make some more of you. Let's get some more iron. And is that 38? Might be enough. I don't know. We might have to make a trip back to get all of it. But for now, that will hopefully do the trick. I'm probably going to need more graphite as well. Let's get some more of this cooking as well. So let's do you and you and you. And then these guys can go back inside here. Yeah. Cool beans. Alright, so we got a fairly decent amount of stuff. Should work. Let's make our way over and start planning this out. Oh, that reminds me, there's something else I made, but I changed its location. So you're seeing this here. You're probably thinking, well, that looks very green, that does right there. And you would be right, that is a very green house. And the reason behind this is because this, my dear friends, is a slime chunk. Yes. So if we have a look in stuffs, I made myself a slimelizer, and if we go in a slime chunk, you can see it goes green, so it makes it very easy to figure out where a slime chunk is. I think there's another one behind it. I think there's one here. No, might be one over here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. And I wanted to make an area to make Botania Manor very easily using those slime plants, because I've never used those before to generate mana, so I thought I'd give it a go. But the caveat with those is that the slimes have to naturally spawn, so you can't use an auto spawner from Mine Factory Loaded. It won't eat the slimes. It'll only eat slimes that naturally spawn in the world. So finding a slime chunk or a decent swamp is going to be what you need. So I dug all of this out of a quarry and started setting it all up. You can see the water down there for them to fall into. And I was basically just going to do layers and then have them fall down into the water and have some flowers in the middle. And during building it, I realised that, well, this is just a nightmare, because I have to go around and light all the caves up. That takes a long time. I didn't want to use magnum torches, because magnum torches stop slimes from spawning, and I might kind of clip the edges of it if I try and do them like around the edge. And then I came up with a brainwave. I realised that I messed up in the Borg world, in my tech world, because I forgot to use the mushroom biome to stop mobs from spawning, and then that gave me an idea. And then it made me realise, oh wait, there's probably slime chunks there, so why don't I just go build it in the tech world? So I did, and it works pretty well, I must admit. I'm real happy with it. It was pretty easy to find myself a slime chunk, and it works great. Here it is down here, look. It's basically exactly what we had in the overworld, except here, and because no mobs spawn, well, except for trolls, for some reason they spawn everywhere, and they don't get stopped by the magnum torch. I got a magnum torch in there, and they don't stop them spawning. It is an absolute, like, seriously, when we go in there and we start building this, all you can hear is meh, meh, all over the place, because there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, so these do that. My slimalyzer's going off again. You can go in there. And the slimes will spawn on the spawn pads, and then they'll fall down into here. I went and got some liquid slime because I thought it was fitting. You know, we've got a Tinker's thing over there, so I went and grabbed some. And these are the slime plants, the Narslimus. So they fall down there, go into here, they get pushed towards the Narslimus. Bigger the slime, the more mana, and then the mana is sent up through here. Now, when you're sending mana, the one thing you have to remember is that if you send mana into another spreader, you actually lose mana. You lose a very small amount of mana. So if you're sending mana over a large distance, it's best that you send it to a pool and then you put it into another spreader. So that's what we've done. Otherwise, if we sent these up here and they kept hitting new spreaders, we would actually lose a fairly hefty amount of mana. And we don't want to be doing that, because, you know, mana's kind of a little bit hard to come by early game. Though I think this works quite nicely. So that comes up this way, and then it comes up here. And I want to get many pools. This is something that's going to fill up over time. The reason I've built it underneath the Borg cube is because it's going to be running while I'm tinkering about, which is exactly what I want. But that comes up there. It then hits these distributors and goes into these pools, which then goes down into more distributors into these pools. So from the 4 shooters down the bottom, we then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we come down here and we have a botload more. So then they're all filling up. You can see that it is working. You can see the mana coming up there. There we go. Some slimes have fallen down. So it does work quite nicely. And yeah, overall it's going to make us a decent amount of mana, and it's really cheap for early game because, well, it's just slimes. You just need to get yourself a slime chunk. See, look, we got loads of mana coming up. Check all that out. Cool beans. Alright, so let's go and build this. So I've planned out where I'm thinking of doing it. Oh my god, look at all these goblins. I need to figure out how to get rid of these guys. I might make it so that nothing can spawn on this floor. I don't know. I might use some slabs and like half slab it or something, because I've got a magnum torch there, and that is not stopping these guys. Look at all those bursts down there. Isn't that cool? Yeah. But these are the ones that I planned out. So this is a 7x7, and this is a 9x9. And when it comes to making big reactors, the efficiency and the space that you use is extremely important, so that you can get the most out of the fuel rods that you have in there. Now, you want to make sure that cooling of the fuel rods is done on every side of the fuel rod. So if this is a fuel rod, we want to make sure there's coolant here, 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 and here. And we don't have to have coolant, but by having 2 rods on either side of each other, or any of the 4 sides, we're not going to be making as much power. We're making a deficit. So we want to make sure that we have a decent amount of spaces between them. So doing it like a checkerboard is the best way to do it. So, and you want to try and, you know, maximize the area that you have. So if I put another one here, then we're not going to have coolant on this side, so it's not going to be working as well. So it's best to just leave those ones out and make sure that you have these like this. Now, when I did it in the Tech It series, I did a 7x7, which is this size here, that has 5 fuel rods. And this is generally the size I'll go with, but I haven't looked at the Feed the Beast Infinity configs for big reactors, because it's very easy to change the configs for big reactors. A lot of packs do that to limit the amount of power that you get, or they change the amount of power that you get. So I'm going to make one, and then I'm going to make the second one, and I'm going to compare them and see what's better. I'm obviously going to rip this one down. I'm not going to spend too lots of resources. I just kind of want to see which one's going to be better for us, and then we can compare the two and figure out what we need. So this one has 5 fuel rods. How many has this one got? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's got 13 fuel rods. I only made 10. I didn't realize there's that many fuel rods. All right, so let's go with the 7x7 first. So first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to work out the edges all around it. And I told you guys, and I do feel sorry for you. I shouldn't have done that. I do feel sorry for you that all you can hear is from these little guys. So yeah, I apologise about that. I'll sort that out in the coming episodes by probably half slabbing this place off so that they can't spawn, because I have a feeling that's going to be it's going to annoy you, but it's going to annoy me even more because I can hear them even louder. Little things. We could probably put them to work. I know these guys can actually do stuff for you from Witchery. You can tell them to dig, and you can tell them to... I don't know if you can get them to, like, chop trees and stuff. Maybe we could have a little hobgoblin workforce in here. It's not really the same as having the Borg doing my biddings for me as the Hive Mind, but I guess it's something. It's a start, right? It's no 7 of 9, I'll tell you that right now, but it's definitely it's definitely better than not having any minions at all, even if they are pretty vocal. But yeah. So let's make this guy. Here we go. We want to fill all the edges around with these bricks, the reactor casings, and then we're going to put down the functioning blocks, like the controller, the inputs, outputs, and then we'll sort the fuel rods out. So we are going to have to go get some yellorium at some point as well, but there we go. You see, you go for a lot more than you think you would. It's one of those builds where you always end up not making enough of what you want. It's always the way. Even though it's kind of fairly cheap, because you just need iron, you need graphite, which is cheap as chips because it's just coal reprocessed. The cyanite or the yellorium is dirt cheap as well, because you get so much of it from running a quarry that you literally don't ever have to worry about it. So as far as power goes, it's really, really efficient, as long as you set your reactor up properly. That's the main thing. When it comes to making a actively cooled reactor, that's when you're gonna have to do a little bit of math to figure out what's going to be best. And I'm probably going to go by the same rule that I used in the Tech It series, because I pretty much got it bang on that. There is a way to measure how good your setup is, and yeah, I had it pretty spot on. So I think we're going to go with something like that to start with. Now let's fill these gaps in as well. We might as well do this. Here we go. Now you don't have to use the reactor glass. You can just use these bricks for all of it, but, you know, reactor glass looks a little bit nicer, doesn't it? So let's do this. So we're going to put you right here, and we're going to have our power taps on here, like this, and then we'll have our reactor ports on this side, like this, and this one's going to be an outlet, so it'll change the color of it, and you can see the little things are pointing out that way. And now we want to sort out the reactor control rods. So what we're going to do is we're going to break these. And we're going to place down, firstly, these. And then this. So do you. There we go. And same here. Cool beans. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put in our reactor control rods. There we go. Because that's what's going to allow them to accept all the stuff. And you can change your settings inside here as well. You can change the amount of fuel and stuff it uses. But with this kind of setup, you really don't have to worry about that. So, yeah. It depends if you want to limit your power. If you're not powering that many machines and you really don't want to be using up a vast amount of power, then it's best for you to manually control your control rods. Manually control your control rods. Yeah, you can do that. Cool beans. All right, so now that we've got that, we want to go around. We want to fill all of the casings in. I'm going to leave the top open for the time being because that's where we're going to be placing our liquid. And we're basically just going to go around now and fill all the gaps in with this. So I'm going to do this, and I will be right back. Alrighty then, so I've gone and filled all the gaps up, and I've gone and got myself my portable tank. We've ended up with about 46 buckets worth of Resonant Ender, which should be enough for what we want to do now. Now, we're going to want to go ahead and fill this in, and this is the messy business. This is where it gets a little bit messy. Where's my other bucket gone? I had 2 buckets just then. Hello? Can I? Oh, there you are. Welcome back. Hiding away in that little slot right there. So we're going to want to fill this up. And like I say, this is going to get a little bit messy. So we're going to do it this way. Actually, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's first get it running without it. Because I'd like to show you the difference between a cooled reactor and a non-cooled reactor. So, yes. So we're going to place all these around. There we go. And once we finish this, it should build the reactor, as long as I've got it right. I think I have. Yeah, there we go. And now it's good to go. So we have a look inside here. We can see that it has the temperature, we have the flux per tick, we have the millibuckets per tick of usage, so fuel burn up, and we have the fuel reactivity. Now, fuel reactivity can be changed at the top as well. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to pop you in there. There we are. And it's going to take, you know, a fair few of these. There we go. To bring it up to full amount, you'll find that when the fuel rods are full, you're going to be producing the most amount of power. So let's go ahead and kick this guy into gear and see what we get. So we're going to be running really high, and you're going to see the fuel cost being very expensive. But we're currently making, and it is rising, so let's wait until it kind of averages out. I think we're almost there now. 4.53. Is it going to go up anymore? Looks like it's stayed there. Yeah. So we're making about 4,500 flux per tick. It's a fair bit. Like, that is actually a lot more than I thought. I don't actually know if I'm going to need to build this one then. That is pretty cool. I think we might build this one when it comes to doing the actively cooled reactor, because if I want to do 2 full-size turbines, I might need something this big. I think this one, when I did it on my Tekkit one, was pushing it slightly, so maybe. But yeah, so we're basically making that much, and our temperature heat is 2,312 Celsius with a burn-up rate of around 2. So let's remember that, 2.3 and 2. We're making about 4.53. So now, let's turn it off, because we don't want to go wasting anything. And let's see if we actually made anything. I don't think we got any byproducts. Oh, we did. We got some cyanide. There we go. So cyanide is what you get as a byproduct. That gets instantly ejected out of there. You can see it kind of comes down here sometimes if you don't instantly eject it. And this can be used in the cyanide reprocessor to turn it into plutonium, which is used as another fuel source. But we can also use plutonium to make some of the turbine pieces that we need for when we make the turbine, which is, you know, pretty important. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and break all of this, and then we'll lay down our ender, and we'll come back to see how that performs. Okie dokie, so that's now all filled in, and we can put the roof back on. A good thing with these reactors is because you have to kind of tinker around with them a fair bit to get them to how you want them to run. It's very personal on these big reactors and how you want to get them to function. The Yellorium will stay in the fuel rod, so you don't have to worry about breaking it and using the Yellorium that you put in there, because that took like a stack and a half off me, didn't it, to fill these guys up to max. You don't want to be losing that, but yeah, you won't lose any of that when you break it, so you don't have to worry about it. So you can see it's still all inside there, even though we disassembled the multi-block. So now it's looking all good in here. Is this too dark? Like, have we got spots where stuff can spawn? No, it looked a little bit too dark for me just then. Maybe we need a couple of torches around here. There we go. Yeah, so now we've got that like that, and it's still kind of winding down at the minute. Let's boot it up and see what kind of power we're going to be making now. And oh, wrong button. And it should be, we should see a fairly decent difference. So before we're sitting at around, was it about 2,300 degrees with a burn up rate of 2, I think. Now we shouldn't be anywhere near that. Yeah, so we're about 1,000 Celsius lower with a burn up rate of around 1.3, but a power increase to about 11.7 thousand RF per tick. It's a pretty big difference, right? I love it. So like I said, you can use different liquids for this. You can even use solid blocks if you want to go ahead and do that. I've seen people use gold blocks, Enderium, silver blocks. You don't have to put a liquid in there if you don't want to. You could just use fresh air if you wanted to. But you're obviously going to have a pretty bad time with fuel burn-up rates. Now, the good thing with these reactors is they don't blow up. So you don't have to worry about them blowing up. The only thing you have to worry about, is trying to preserve your fuel. Bigger the reactor, more the fuel, more the yellorium you're going to need, the vast amount of cyanide reprocessing you're going to do as well. So there is that. There is also the power output. So this is putting out 11.7 KRF per tick. And there isn't really a cable that actually can take that. So you want to try and make sure that you're outputting into something that can effectively use the power that's being put out. I would suggest Tesseracts. Tesseracts don't have a limit to the amount of power that they can accept. It's literally a straight through amount. There's no cutback, there's no bottlenecking or anything like that. So Tesseracts are good. If you could fit everything out of a Tesseract, you know that you're not wasting any power then. But the one thing to remember as well is what you're going to be doing that's going to use 11,700 flux per tick. Sure, you can use that much. Like, don't get me wrong, you can use that much. But for the situation I'm in at the minute, I haven't got anything that's going to be using that much power. So I don't really have to worry about using Tesseracts on these because I'm going to be wasting power anyway. There's nothing I can do about that until I get bigger machines or I decide to make a bazillion storage areas for all of the power, which I'm probably not going to do because, yeah, probably not going to happen. But that is that. And our casing heat staying down, core heat staying down, core fuel state is pretty good. Let's see if we've got any cyanide. We've got a little bit of cyanide in there. And this is doing her fine, which is lovely jubbly. I'm going to turn this off now because we don't want to keep that running because we're currently making power which isn't getting stored in there. You can, if I get rid of any eye, you can see. There you go. It has a big internal buffer inside it, but if your buffer's full, it's still going to be working. It's still going to be using fuel and producing power, even though that power has nowhere to go. So try and not keep this going while it's like that. There are a few ways of doing that as well. So you can control this automatically. Turtles can do that. You can use RedNet. There's a few other things that you can do. You can use ComputerCraft. ComputerCraft works really nice with it. If you look inside the big reactors, you'll see there's a few blocks to help you with that. So there is the RedNet, the reactor RedNet port, and there's the reactor computer port. So we've got ones for RedNet and we have ones for ComputerCraft, which will allow us to, make programs, make systems that will turn these off automatically when you've made enough power, or when, say, a machine is running a bit low, your thing can kick back in. Trying not to have this on when it's full is the biggest, I would say, challenge, but it's not really a challenge. It's not hard to do it, but it's the one thing that you want to sort out because you don't want to be, you don't want to be using yellorium and not getting anything out of it. So there is that. Yeah. But I think that's going to be that for today's episode, guys. I don't need to make one this big just yet, but I am going to stand here and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to think, that would be a mighty fine reactor. So I think we will do that, but not yet. I'm going to keep this skeleton here though, because I'm going to use this for when we make the giant turbines that are going to go on either side of it, and then we will be making over 9,000 power. We're already making over 9,000. Oh my god, we're 11. It's over 9,000. It's amazing. Yes. So that's going to be it for today's episode, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've gone over the big reactor, how to set it up, how to fuel it, how to make sure that it is being cooled nicely, and we're getting a decent amount of power for the fuel ratio and heat that is being used. So that's good. Another quick thing to note as well is these can be automated as well. So the inputs and outputs, you just put a pipe going into these and you can have the plutonium or the cyanide sucked out and the yellorium put in. So yeah, you can obviously fully automate these, and that's a it's a piece of chips in it. You literally just need a couple of pipes doing that for you. So yes, but there is that. There's also this guy down here that we went through, which I think, for those of you guys that are using Britannia, this could definitely come in handy. I do like this little setup, and being cheeky and having a void world that doesn't have mushroom biomes, so we have mob spawning, is actually paying off somehow. Even though I messed up to begin with, it's become fairly useful. So setting up a few of these, which are cheap as chips because they're just, some water buckets, some cobblestone, some light. You can use whatever you like. I used pumpkins because, jack-o'-lanterns, because I think they look cool. And, the gold and petals and bits that you need, living rock, to be able to make these. which is all fairly cheap again, and you'll get yourself a pretty hefty amount of mana at a decent rate for something that's totally free of charge, so you cannot moan about that. Until we get into better forms of mana generation, now that some of the more effective means of making mana, I'm not going to say better, but more effective means, you know, you can control them a little bit easier, have been moved over into Elven Knowledge now, so you can't, like the ones that you give lava to, I always forget the name of them, you can make those, but you need to be into Elven Knowledge now. They've also been nerfed heavily because they have a cooldown on them now, so you can't go ahead and cheese it like everybody does, hooking up some lava that's getting put into them. That is the cheaty way of doing it. Use your imagination, and I think this is a nice way of doing it, so yeah. Cool beans. Alright guys, I'll see you soon for another episode. Have yourself a great day. Have a good one, as always. And I promise as well, I'll sort out this, I got a hobgoblin infestation. Someone get the, what's the equivalent of the hobgoblin Ghostbusters? I literally don't know. Give me the witch hunters in, or something like that. We've got a problem. I'll see you guys soon. Have yourself a great day. Have a good one, as always. And, bye-bye.